Just thought I'd have a little bit of a chat. Just to say hello to everybody. A nice relaxing start to the year. And, well, I talk a lot about art, media, history, that sort of thing on my channel. And, you know, if you're like me, you might be thinking to yourself, Yd, yr ysgold, ysdyfynnygu den balad, ond der sagas fleke, escorvol nearby? Or, if you're not quite like me, you probably didn't code switch and ask that question in English. Ed, you're a historian. When media is not accurate to the history, doesn't that annoy you? And, well, the answer's yes and no. Because it depends what it is that's the annoying part, or what it is that's inaccurate. As you might have heard when you saw my video on my thoughts on the film Oppenheimer, I kind of said that, yeah, there were a few minor inaccuracies, but nothing that important. And yes, there were one or two things the film got a bit wrong. Apparently one guy's hand wasn't in the exact right place it was historically. When Oppenheimer didn't walk out the room and then over here Harry S. Truman say not to let that crybaby back in. That was something said a day later. But, you know, that's time compression. That's a sort of film device for compressing history and getting an idea over, because a film's only got a few hours to convey the narrative of the history and make it watchable. Well, and make the events comprehensible to people. And there are people who spent years studying history. I wanted to be more general with this video, and so that's why I talk about the idea that, to my mind, some historical inaccuracies matter, and some don't. For example, if the buttons on a uniform are in the slightly wrong order, you know, you might be like, that's three. Hey, they should have had 3 buttons done up, not 2. Or when someone's commanding a squadron of archers, might have even used the wrong word there, you know, a group of archers, and the commander yells, "Ready, aim, fire!" when technically, knock, draw, loose should be the accurate version. I think it's best to praise works that get that right, those small details right, rather than admonish the ones who get it wrong, because, well, for one thing, it gives historians something that they can talk about with the public, as a way of bridging that gap between people who haven't spent years studying history into people who have. Ultimately, media and dramatic works depicting events from the past should be the starting point of a conversation, not the ending point. And that is why certain historical inaccuracies do matter, because it comes down to reputation and people. You know? Because if they have the wrong button order on a particular regimental jacket, that matters far less than whether they portray certain events in certain ways and sort of manipulate characters. You know, either on an individual scale or even on the scale of a certain group, because that can give people a misunderstanding as to what things were actually like and and possibly even into today. We see it in ourselves. We see it as quite often, whereby certain things are seen in a much more simplified and unnuanced way than they actually were. But, as I say, I'm trying to keep it light for this video. So that's kind of what I base any kind of historical analysis of historical inaccuracies on. Will people get a bad or inaccurate impression of what's going on from this piece or not? Now, if they do get the small things right, that's even better. Again, they'll probably not be able to be fully accurate. One, because these aren't documentaries, and to be fair, even documentaries can't get everything, and will often have the perspective of the histories and the historians that make them. And, of course, we don't know everything that happened in the past. And we are limited by the perspectives of the source makers when we rely on historical sources. There aren't, like, pure objective sources, because, you know, someone writes about an event and they write about it how they remember it. Someone else remembers it differently. Someone else remembers it differently in a different way. But we can use those to piece together what happened. So, anyway. Sorry, I think I'm waffling on now, so hope you have a lovely time going forward. And it was lovely having you here.